Hello, I'm GregSolomon. In this video clip, I'm going to expound upon a video clip that was uploaded by the dispatcher. In the dispatcher's video clip, he provided some commentary and a critique of Mr. Renetto's video clip entitled A Conversation with YouTube. I wasn't even aware of Renetto's video clip until I watched the dispatcher's critique of it. And then I went over and watched Renetto's clip because it sounded as if it would be amusing and perhaps good for a chuckle. And indeed it was quite amusing. For those of you who aren't aware of what I'm talking about, let me bring you up to speed on this. A couple of days ago, Mr. Renetto, or a few days ago actually, Mr. Renetto uploaded two video clips in which he was quite critical of YouTube and the direction that YouTube is heading in and the business model that YouTube is becoming. Apparently Mr. Renetto was disgruntled over the direction that YouTube is taking and the business model that it's becoming. Mr. Renetto thought it was going to go in another direction, and once he saw the direction that YouTube is heading in, he was frustrated over it, disgruntled, and uploaded a couple of very, very critical video clips. Well, Renetto says that after he had uploaded the second of these video clips, I don't know, I think he said it was around midnight or 1 in the morning, something like that. Anyway, in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the morning, he said all of a sudden he got a message from a fellow who identified himself as Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube. Yes, in the middle of the night, all of a sudden a fellow just typed a message in to Renetto and said, "Hi, I'm Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube, and I just watched your video clip, and I'd like to talk with you about a few things and just see what's troubling you, see if we can work it out." And Renetto wrote back to him, and apparently Renetto said they had a dialogue that night, exchanged 6 or 7 messages. And then the next day, Renetto said Steve Chen contacted him again and talked to him, and eventually told Renetto, "Hey, how about if I contact some of the other powers that be at YouTube, and we can all engage you in conversation and get your opinion on YouTube and where it's going and what we're doing." And Renetto said, yeah, he thought that would be a good idea. And so Steve Chen supposedly contacted all the other powers that be at YouTube, and now they're having an ongoing dialogue with Renetto. To hear Renetto tell it, that's what's going on. Renetto also said that he asked Steve Chen if he could indeed use his message in his email to convey Mr. Chen's thoughts on certain subjects to other YouTubers. And Steve Chen said, "Why, by all means, yes, go ahead. Yes, use these messages and convey my thoughts to the fellow YouTubers, and in essence be Steve Chen's mouthpiece." Now, I can only come to 3 conclusions here. Okay, the dispatcher, who actually is known as the Boring Dispatcher now, that's where you'll find his channel, the Boring Dispatcher, but he's the dispatcher. He is of the conclusion that Mr. Renetto is now delusional in thinking that Steve Chen and all the powers that be at YouTube are engaging him in dialogue. The dispatcher comes right out and says he's absolutely delusional and actually asks Mr. Renetto to show some proof. Well, I come to 3 possible conclusions. Now, first of all, let me say right off that this individual or individuals who are engaging Renetto in conversation, these individuals, none of them have anything to do with YouTube or with the powers that be at YouTube. That's not even a consideration. That's not even one of the conclusions. Not even close. No. There are only 3 possible conclusions here. Okay, number 1, Renetto is indeed delusional. Okay, that would be one possible conclusion. Another possible conclusion is Renetto, in his video clips, is trying to engage in some sort of sarcasm. Okay, he has posted video clips before where he says certain things and people misunderstand them, and he says, "Well, I was just engaging in some sarcasm," sort of like the boy who cried wolf several times, and then you don't really know whether to believe it or not. Is he just joking around, or is he being serious? So it's one of those. He's either delusional, or he's engaging in some sarcasm, what he feels is sarcasm. Or number three, and I believe the most likely scenario here, is that a person or a group of persons are in fact blowing some smoke up Renetto's, well, let's just say they're pulling his leg. I believe, first of all, Renetto, when he got his this message from Steve Chen, Renetto said, I went right out to this guy's channel and took a look at it to see if it was Steve Chen. And it's Steve Chen, all right, everyone. It's Steve Chen. I checked it out. It's Steve Chen. That's who's talking to me. It's Steve Chen. Now, I find it very suspect that someone can just go out to someone's channel and ascertain to any degree of certainty who that individual is just by going out to their channel. Anyone can pose as anyone out here. You can put up a picture of anyone and copy anyone's videos and put them up in that channel and act as if you're anyone. Let me give you an example. There's a person out here with a username and a channel known as Chad Hurley, but it's not the Chad Hurley that's the co-founder of YouTube. Okay? What I think has happened is a person that night at 1 in the morning, in the middle of the night, saw that Renetto was online and typed him a message and said, hey, I'm Steve Chen. Let's have a talk about this. And I think Renetto just fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. And that brings up a visual of fishing, doesn't it? How many of you have ever been fishing? Well, let me use the visual of fishing to show you exactly what I think happened with Mr. Renetto. You see, I think this individual who sent Renetto this message and several messages afterwards, I think what he did is he baited the hook, see? And then he cast it. If you've ever been fishing, you bait a hook and then you cast it out, okay? And you reel it nice and slow through the water, hoping that a fish will strike at the hook and strike at the bait. Well, that's what I think this individual did. He sent Mr. Renetto a message and cast it out, put the bait on the line. Said, yeah, I'm Steve Chen. Mr. Renetto? Yeah, I'm Steve Chen, one of the co-founders of YouTube. And I'd like to engage you in some conversation. Find out what's going on, and what you think about YouTube and the direction it's heading in. And all of a sudden Renetto just struck at that bait. See? And now what the guy's doing is just reeling him in. See? Just reeling him in. Now that's what I think's going on here, Mr. Renetto. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that I don't believe that you're actually intentionally deceiving anyone into thinking that you're engaging in dialogue with Steve Chen and the powers that be at YouTube. I just think an individual and some of his buddies are actually just having some fun and some laughs at your expense, and enjoying a nice little joke at your expense, and you've fallen for it hook, line, and sinker. See? And they're just reeling you in. Now, see? Having some fun with you. And when you get too close, well, they just loosen the drag and let you run with it a little bit, and they tighten it up and reel you in a little more. See? And just having some fun with you. That's what's going on here, Mr. Renetto. Now, you could easily dispel that and dispel what the dispatcher thinks. As I said, he believes you're delusional. I'm telling you what I actually think, that you're having a scam run on you by some pranksters. But you can you can dispel both of those theories and just do what the dispatcher said and just show us the email, show us the message. After all, you said that Steve Chen told you to go ahead and use go ahead and use the message he sent you and send it out to message the people at YouTube with what Steve Chen wants them to know, and let the people know what Steve Chen thinks about certain issues at YouTube. In other words, Steve Chen is using you as a mouthpiece and says it's okay for you to go ahead and use his messages. So just turn the camera around and show us. Just show us the email. Show us the message. Let us see it. I mean, as I said, Steve Chen said he didn't care. He wants us all to know. So just turn the camera around and show us and let us know that it's legitimate. However, I would admonish you to be very careful when you do so, when you turn your camera around and show us the message in the video clip. I would remind you of what happened to the last individual who attempted to show me an email. I'm speaking of none other than Mr. Zen Archer, and you remember what happened to him. Of course, Mr. Zen Archer did something that I don't believe you would possibly do, Mr. Renetto. Zen Archer attempted to show a fraudulent email. In fact, he did show a fraudulent email, and he was immediately caught and placed in checkmate by my checkmate video. He was caught and humiliated, caught with his pants down, so to speak. So as I say, I would admonish you, remember that, and don't try to post anything or show anything. Of course, I don't believe you would even do that. I think higher of you than that, Mr. Renetto, and I don't think that you would possibly attempt to intentionally deceive anyone. I really don't. As I said, I believe the most likely scenario here is the fact that there are some guys out here who are just running a prank. Playing a prank, you falling for it, hook, line, and sinker, and they're just having some fun playing that fish, see? They're probably sitting back at the computer sending a message in to you, and you're writing back, yeah, hey Steve, well, they're probably having a couple beers and sitting back and having a good laugh over it. Get that visual in your head. Reeling that fish in. That's what's going on here, Mr. Renetto. But what I would advise you to do, Paul, is just sit back and, to take a few breaths of fresh air and think level-headed. Let the calm voice of reason speak to you. Get this thought out of your head that Steve Chen and Chad Hurley and all the powers that be want to talk to you and find out what you think about different issues, and that Steve Chen wants to use you as a mouthpiece. The amount of people, the few thousand people that you can reach, Mr. Renetto, is very small and paltry indeed compared with the millions of people that Steve Chen could reach if he wanted to post a video on the front page of YouTube. If Steve Chen wants to get a message out to the folks out here on YouTube, he's not going to use you as a mouthpiece. In fact, Mr. Renetto was actually on his way down the most subscribed list. He had got up as high as number 8. He is now dropping. He's now on his way down. He's now down to number 11. He's not even in the top 10 anymore. And number 12 is quickly encroaching upon him and will soon overtake him, and he'll be down at number 12. So he's on his way down. So this should give you some inkling, Mr. Renetto, that, I mean, as I said, if Steve Chen wants to express his thoughts or get a message out to YouTubers, he's not going to pick a fellow who has access to a few thousand people. He's just going to post a message on the front page of YouTube and let millions of people see it. So just think about that and let the calm voice of reason set in, and just get rid of these thoughts that you're having, and realize that you're having a scam played on you by some pranksters. Just get this visual in your head, Mr. Renetto. This is what's going on right here. Just reeling you in. And they're having a couple beers and a few laughs while they're doing it. Until next time, everyone, this is Greg Solomon saying take care.